If you were suddenly reincarnated as a European man during World War I, what would you do? World War I took place from 1914 to 1918, primarily occurring in Europe. The cause of the war was due to colonial conflicts among European empires, uneven development, and of course, because some reckless young man in Serbia fired the first shot to spark the war. This was a brutal war with over 10 million deaths and 20 million injuries, but it was also a period that saw the birth of many new weapons and new methods of warfare. So, if you were suddenly reincarnated as a European during that time, there are 3 ways you could choose, from the ordinary to the most outrageous. First, at level 1, you can flee to another country. The question is, where would you run? You can't escape to another European country because you'll still be affected by the war no matter where you go. There are 2 places you could escape to, the Americas or other continents. If you flee to other continents, remember that most countries in Africa, Asia, and Oceania are colonies of European nations. So if you're just an ordinary person going there, there's a high chance you'll be conscripted into the army. Therefore, this option is not feasible. Next, if you choose to go to the Americas, there are many options for you, such as the United States, Brazil, or Argentina. Most countries in the Americas at that time were not colonies of other nations, so you would be less likely to be affected by the war. However, escaping there is not easy. First, you need a passport. You can't just go to the city hall to get a passport, because being reincarnated means no one knows who you are. You go to the black market, find a seller, and buy a passport. But the price of a passport on the black market is very high, so you need to find a job to earn money. But the war is approaching, and you need to make money quickly. Look at what you're wearing. Being reincarnated, your clothes are remarkably good compared to the clothes of that time. So you sell them to fabric shops and get enough money for a regular set of clothes and a passport. Then, you find a ship to the Americas and set off. However, you don't have enough money to buy a ticket. But no worries, you know that most ocean liners at that time needed positions such as kitchen assistants, stoker, or engine operators. So you apply for one of these positions and get a free passage. Finally, you board the ship for free and set sail for the Americas. And hopefully, you don't get attacked by German submarines. Rating 7.5 out of 10. Next, at level 2, you stay in Europe during World War I, but you don't want to join the war. Therefore, you decide to go to a neutral country. As you have been reincarnated from the modern world, you list the neutral countries not affected by the war, including Spain, Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, and the Netherlands. The first question, where will you go? If you were reincarnated into World War I, remember trench warfare, a trench battle stretching from the coast of France to Switzerland. Therefore, if you were reincarnated into the German side, it would be very difficult to get to Spain. And if you were reincarnated into France, it would be very difficult to get to the Netherlands, Denmark, or Sweden. You also can't take a ship, as they are intercepted by German submarines. Switzerland is a perfect destination. It is a neutral country, not heavily affected by the war and the Spanish flu. So you decide to go to Switzerland after some thought. Suppose you were reincarnated into France, just like in the first way. You sell your clothes to buy a passport, but on the way to Switzerland, you discover one thing: many people are being conscripted. You can't let that happen to you, so you come up with a plan to pretend to be a citizen of neutral countries. However, you are holding a French passport, and you don't have enough money to make a second passport. You worry. Luckily, in the group of evacuees, there are bandits hiding from the authorities, and they can't reveal their identities. You approach them, sell the fake passport, then go to the black market and buy a Spanish passport because you learned a bit of Spanish before being reincarnated. After that, you smoothly cross the border and reach Switzerland. Take care of your health when you get there because the Spanish flu is also approaching. Rating 7 out of 10. In the final way, at level 3, you stay and fight. First, choose a side. However, unfortunately, God doesn't give you a choice. You are reincarnated into France and join the battle with them. Since you are reincarnated, you know that being conscripted at this time, especially in France and Germany, is as good as signing your name in the death note. What's more, you have no skills in positions like logistics, medical, artillery, etc. Therefore, you have to be a rifleman. But also, because you are reincarnated, you clearly know which places are dead ends and which places are lighter. And you also thank God for giving you the ability to speak French fluently upon reincarnation. You skillfully communicate with your comrades and commanders to avoid the 3 most brutal battles: Verdun, Somme, and Passchendaele. On the battlefield, you effectively use combat skills from games to stay alive, as well as knowing in advance a German tactic, such as using chemical weapons and artillery barrages to avoid them in time. You also come up with new ways to prevent diseases in the trenches. Therefore, you are fortunate to survive World War I. Rating: 6.5 out of 10. In conclusion, being reincarnated into World War I is a fantasy and not something anyone desires. However, if on a fine day you find yourself reincarnated into World War I, this video will be a useful tool for you. If you have other interesting ways to survive in this scenario, please comment and let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe to watch the next videos.